I have an Enya 64 cycle engine here that I purchased off of eBay, and as you can see, it's in pretty rough shape. This is an engine I got fairly inexpensively, and probably a good reason too, because the exterior of it is just rough. I'll be lucky if I can get this thing running again. I can't even begin to turn the crankshaft. It's just got years and years of filth on it. So what I'm going to do first is probably just take it out to the compressor and see how much of this is loose enough just to blow off. And then I'm going to just start cleaning it after I take it off the mount here. And this will be my next subject for a full disassembly, reassembly, hopefully rebuild, and possibly get it running again. As you can see, it doesn't have a carb or an exhaust, but luckily I managed to buy a carb for it, and I have a spare exhaust for this engine. So hopefully, if those are the only parts I need, I'll be in alright shape. But I did buy a set of bearings for it, and I have a replacement ring also. All of those things hopefully will be all that's needed. Heck, I can't even turn this. Okay, there we go. So this is going to be a major project here, but we'll start on it now and see how it goes. Alright, so I've done just a little bit of scrubbing on this thing. It looks a tiny bit better, but it's got a long way to go. In fact, I'm not even sure the amount of corrosion that's on this, if I'm ever going to be able to make this look decent at all, but we'll see. What I have here in this container is CLR, and in this container is some of that LA's Totally Awesome cleaner. What I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to start trying to remove the things that I can remove here and kind of decide where each one of these is going to go. So the fact that my first screws coming out is a good thing. As far as screws go, I'm dropping every one of those into CLR. This cover, pretty nasty. I'm going to drop that in the LA's Totally Awesome cleaner. See what that does to that. See if it touches it at all. If it doesn't, I may drop it in CLR. Not really too concerned about what it does to that shiny cover. I have a new one if I so decide to put one on there. Let's take these, pull these set screws up a little bit so I can try and get this rocker arm assembly. I'm sure I'm going to encounter some real difficulties in trying to take some of this stuff apart. Pretty interesting. Look inside there. It actually looks like a fairly low time engine. I mean, I can't turn the crankshaft. It's completely seized up, but at least by the look of the piston, it's not dark and black like what was that engine I just took apart? Oh, that Sato 45S. The entire top of the piston was completely black on that. This one doesn't actually look too bad at all. Pushrod tubes, stick those in the LA's Totally Awesome cleaner. Oil in the top here, and I don't know if that's going to help that at all or not. Alright, so let's see what the valves look like. And more somewhat good news. Doesn't look like this engine has got much runtime on it at all. So possibly it is just a I don't know, 10, 15 run engine, and then put away in an unknown state, because those valves don't look like they've got a whole lot of time on them at all. That exhaust valve's a little black, but not much. So, that's cool. Sort of worth seeing. I just went ahead and took the screws out and pulled that out, and there's this big blob of goo here. Smells like, I don't even know what that smells like. It smells pretty freaking nasty though. Still haven't got the timing cover off yet. Still kind of trying to work on that. Believe it or not, it's really only held in place with these just friction fit, really. Okay, it's coming apart now. Oof. And there we have it. Honestly, this engine looks really horrible on the outside, but it doesn't look too bad on the inside. I mean, I don't even see a whole lot of rust on that crankshaft. I mean, granted, the bearings are completely gone, but I mean, that's dry and it looks brand new, which is quite surprising. There's a little coating of some congealed crap here. Let's see if I can get some of that off and show you. It's just gunk. I don't know. We actually may have a very low runtime engine here again, but unfortunately the crankcase is just going to kind of be it's not going to be very good there, because the crankcase is going to look like complete garbage. But anyway, that's not bad. Now I'm just going to probably throw some oil in this, try and rotate it around as best I can. It's freeing up right now. It's actually freeing up pretty good. I should probably be able to just maybe heat that up and pound that crankshaft out of there. This engine's beginning to look like it's a pretty low runtime engine. Now obviously these bearings and everything are pretty froze up. I just got the piston to move. Pushed it down. I'm going to see if I can get it to come up and out. There's our piston. There's an F indicating the front. And you can see, granted, the ring is completely compressed in the groove, which is not a big deal. I can take that out and clean it, but this piston really doesn't have a whole lot of runtime on it. This looks like a really low runtime engine now, which is quite cool. I think I'm going to drop that in the LA's Totally Awesome Cleaner. And step outside and get this crankshaft out. Okay, I heated this up just a hair. Put it in my arbor press and just press this out. So there's our rear bearing on there. You can see how nasty and dirty that is. That's not even moving, it's still kind of warm. And I'm going to have to try and get this front bearing out, get the rear bearing off of here, but I'm probably going to go ahead and just soak this guy in the CLR to help try and free that stuff up. use my round nose pliers for that. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this front bearing out. I mean, it rotates a little bit, but the thing needs to be out and replaced anyway. So about the best I'm going to be able to do is put this 3/4 or 3/8 inch extension, socket extension in here and use that as a drive to drive that out. And I'm sure that I might need to heat this thing up pretty well. In fact, before I heat it up, let me throw some 3-in-1 oil in there. Might help facilitate this operation. And I got my arbor press here. One smells interesting when it gets hot. I hear things popping in there. Let's see if that's enough to get this thing to come out of here. Ow. Yeah, you guys are pretty warm. And it looks like we have successfully removed the front bearing. There it is. Now we can commence to cleaning the rest of this bell up because it's quite filthy. That bearing is going to get discarded.